Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another exciting episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. In one corner, we have the Monarch of Mardi Gras, the Baroness of Bourbon Street. When she's not co-hosting Ringside Society, she's on crazy misadventures, such as driving 5 hours to watch a wrestling show to and from, and also trying to get the 3-for-1 special at the world famous Cafe Du Monde, Louisiana Zone, Kathy Knight. In the second corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane, or Popeye Spinach. He's the charcoal dart of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. It takes two to make a thing go right. He's Rob Bass, and you are not. And in the third corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always on the go. Catch him if you can. Said his name in Guyana. Now they love him in Japan. No cap, the worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. And our special guest tonight is a man who has trained at the Nightmare Factory. That's right, the famous Nightmare Factory in Georgia that has actually given us some of our best guests, such as the Diamond Sheik, the Bodyguard, Austin Green, and also one of the hottest tag teams, actually two of the hottest tag teams in professional wrestling today, the Renegade Twins, and also TSF. Everybody, welcome to the show, the superhero of Salsa, Cuatro Cabezas.
Woo! Ah, buenas tardes. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good, Cuatro. Hey, bienvenido a Ringside Society. We really and truly appreciate it, man. You know, we know you're a busy man, pretty much, doing the thing in the ring and whatnot. But, we are very grateful to have you on here. We're just doing fine over here right now. How's everything? You're in Georgia right now, right?
Really cold Sunday evening in Georgia. Just had a fun weekend
Awesome.
of shows. Settling in with you guys.
Awesome. Cool. So we were very excited to actually, to have you on. Rob, I keep telling you, that appearance is gonna cost us money, man. Like, come on, bro. Is that Lucy or Katie?
That's Lucy. She had to come in and hop in my lap.
And you even had the one that she had to come in and hop in my lap. She had to see the man. And she's a diva. She's gonna want to have like the special kibbles and bits, Gosh. But yeah. Cuatro, really and truly, thank you very much for agreeing to appear on our show. We really and truly appreciate it, and we've definitely seen some of your stuff in the ring. Rob was a bit nervous because he was like, "Oh man, I gotta brush up on my Spanish, man. I don't know too much," but I was like, "Rob, you're gonna be okay, man. You should be all right." But yeah,
we're all fine.
Yeah. So you're actually from Puerto Rico, right?
Not at all. I'm from Miami, Florida.
Oh, awesome.
But I am a Cuban American.
I should look closer. Yeah. Those flags always throw me off because I know that Puerto Rico's is blue and red.
Colors.
Yeah. Yeah. But oh man, Miami, Florida. Oh, I used to live down there. I was there for I was in Fort Lauderdale for 7 years, but anytime I want to clear my head and just, be at ease. Crazily enough, I used to drive all the way to South Beach and just hang out there. I know it's crazy, but that was just my thought. I've heard. I've never really gotten into anything though. I mean, I've just went there, sat on the beach, and that was it. But I do miss Calle Ocho though.
We had a lot of dances to be danced. But
Yeah,
I stayed in South Miami, down by the University of Miami. So that's kind of that was my little neck of the woods, Coconut Grove. We'd go down. I used to play in a lot of punk rock bands. So we'd go over to Little Haiti, play at Churchill's Pub, and just hang out with all those kids. Very Cheers kind of environment if you were a punk rock kid in those days. Everybody knew your name. Everybody's seen your band. You've seen everybody's band. You've all played in 3 different bands together. It just fits. It just fits right in. It's the same mentality we have as independent professional wrestlers. The camaraderie and wanting to have a great show together.
Oh man,
Together,
you mentioned you're mentioning Coconut Grove. I remembered I went there one time. There was a Coyote Ugly right there, and the only other Coyote Ugly I've ever been to was in Las Solas, which is in downtown Fort Lauderdale. And when I went there, I'll never forget. I saw the girls doing their little dance and whatnot, their little shtick and whatever, and one of them ended up throwing like a bucket of water on the other one. I was like, wow, I didn't know they saw this down here. This is wild. But my all-time favorite thing, and I haven't gone to it in years, and I'm hoping that I get the chance to go once again, was going to Cayocho. I've always enjoyed being there. The first time I went, I got to see a whole like impromptu Pitbull concert. And then the second time I went, the following year, I got to see Flow Rider, and that was another great time as well. So I always enjoyed it. My friends used to be scared because they're like, "Man, how do I go to Miami and then you're gonna go to Cayocho?" But I went like twice. Nothing happened. But then again, I just went there for the food and the music. That was it, pretty much.
That's two of the best things to go for, especially during that Coyote festival. You get so many good shows, and it's just a big way for the Latin American community to show off. And we want to show our pride in what we do. I show my pride in what I do here in the ring, and what I do with my world famous interview series at Cuatro de Cuatro. Maybe you've seen it on my YouTube. Maybe you've seen it on my Instagram. Maybe you've seen them on Facebook. They're around. I like talking to all the different folks I encounter in the world of professional wrestling and kind of getting to know them a little bit. I think friends of your show, TSF. I know I was sandwiched in between those two for an interview, and it was a very awkward experience. Not a lot of room, not a lot of elbow room. The voice in my mask was almost screaming in my head. It was so awkward. It gets better, it gets worse, but definitely once the voice in my mask told me to go to where the ocean's on the left side, and I ended up in California. I was going to visit family out there. The voice in my mask told me to find an ill-fitting sport coat and start asking the questions. You know, I'm new to professional wrestling. I mean, I was just a regular 41-year-old guy who worked a job and had a wife and had a family. And I'm walking my dog one night, and this flash of light comes out. You guys ever seen the Terminator when he comes out of the thing? I swear to God, it reminded me of just that. It was a foggy night, a flash of light, and this woman comes flying out, and she hands me this mask. It looked like she'd gotten kicked in the face or something and just flown out like a Powerpuff Girls cartoon. It was insane. The other insane part was that my dog didn't freak out. Like, my dog knew who this person was, but we'd never met before. And handed me the mask and told me I need to get started, and disappeared. And next thing I know, I put it on. I start hearing this narration in Espanol, and through random pop culture references, figuring out what to do, what the next step in the journey is. And that's how I've been going. That's how I found the Nightmare Factory. As the voice in my mask said to watch Nightmare on Elm Street. She told me Freddy Krueger sent his regards. I find the movie on. I watch it. I find the factory. And they showed me how to get everything started as I started putting together my matches, putting together my style, getting the rhythm in my head that comes out through my hips. Show them who you are, she says to me. Cuban American. One of the best parts of my life has always been music. So as soon as I hear the music, it's like something in the mass takes over, and I can't stop shaking my hips. I can't stop feeling the rhythm. And it just keeps me one step ahead of everybody else in the ring. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, music. Oh yeah, music is definitely a wonderful thing. And you're also the superhero. You're the superhero of salsa. And
Well, I
whenever I
am.
hear about,
I've got to save it. I've got to save the future.
Future.
The first thing the mask told me was I need to save the future with really good rhythm. I've always stuck to that. Just kept on dancing. The beat goes on no matter what. And I'm a superhero just like you're a superhero, just like everybody watching is a superhero. Because you have the superpower to save yourself. No matter what happens, you get up, the beat goes on, you keep on dancing.
awesome. So whenever I think of salsa, I think of one of my favorite, and I'm not a big salsa aficionado. I might know some like just by hearing it, but one song that always sticks out to me, especially when I'm like in the club, and for some reason, a lot of times it's the last song they play for the night. But whether it's the last song or in the middle for the night or in the middle of the night, the song Bibir Mi Vida by Mark Anthony is always that song that gets me dancing. Even when I don't want to dance, that is the one jam that I just gotta dance. I'm not a big dancer. I mean, I could barely two step, but for some reason, I tend to find that rhythm. I don't know where it comes from, but
Oh,
it's
Remy,
just
believe me, I don't even like dancing. But once this mask found me, once Cuatro Cabezas came into my life, I just can't stop, you know. And it's brought me on a musical deep dive where I'm listening to old recordings from Ruben Blades and the people from Fania Records, and you know, going a little bit further forward, but still kind of back in there, Miami Sound Machine in the '80s and all the things they were doing, of just trying to show the for me, it's something essential in the fiber of my being is that Cuban American journey. It's not being from one place but two, and having these two worlds with all their similarities, all their differences, all put together into one. Um, it makes a place like Miami, like nowhere else in the world. It makes that experience unlike most in the world, and it's just it's just part of who I am, and I'm so happy and so proud that I get to show that to the world in my own way, in a great performance, the live action combat theater that this sport of professional wrestling is. It just makes for a great stage to express what I have to express, and I'm thankful for it every day. It keeps me from getting too gordito, keeps me from getting bored at home. It literally keeps me on my toes. I never know what's going to happen next, and I just keep rolling with the punches and having the best time as best a time as I can.
as long as you're having the best, as long as you're having the best time right now, you know, that's all that matters. And I always tell people, whatever you do outside of work, outside the 9 to 5 and whatnot, whatever you do that's recreational, do it for fun. Don't do it for don't do it for monetary stuff. Don't do it for followers and whatnot. Do it because you like it. The rest will come later on. Eventually, some people will notice and they'll still be like, "Yo, he or she's having fun." Big ups to them. I'm gonna give them a follow. I'm gonna give them a shout out and whatnot. But yeah, as long as you're
Most
having
definitely.
fun,
especially
Yeah,
in
that's
especially in professional wrestling, because we're that, like us now, we're at the first generation of in American professional wrestling in particular, I should say, are folks coming into it that weren't an athlete recruited by a TV guy, or necessarily that archetype, that old school archetype where the guy played football for a team. And not to discredit that at all, but now as American professional wrestling is going, as how Georgia independent wrestling is growing, it's really become a lot more of a creative endeavor, and it honors both sides of the token. Take classic examples. I mean, take somebody like The Undertaker that influenced a lot of people that came after him now, and probably will keep going throughout. One of those, big names like him, like Ric Flair, these people that embrace the characters that they are and keep us on our toes. We're telling a physical story, but it's definitely good to be able to show who you are, differentiate yourself from the next person. When I was younger, and it's funny when people always use that cliche of hiding behind the mask and show me your face, and this is the face of Cuatro Cabezas. This is Cuatro Cabezas is who you came to see. The mask, in my case, was able to set that part free, whether I wanted to or not, because these voices will not shut up, you guys. Okay, but I digress. It's finding that outlet to get your creative energies out of you. Get that expression out of you, whatever it is you're doing. And I've done a bunch of things. I played in punk rock bands for like 10, 15 years. I did a lot of that performative side of it. So to have this mask and this kind of this superhero identity fall into my lap and come into my life, and learn that in the future it will be a lie. The Cuatro Cabezas.
awesome.
The woman
So
that
what do you
came through and gave me the mask was my great granddaughter from the future. So that's not lost on me. This is something that can and will happen. Sorry, Remy,
Wow,
you were saying.
that's pretty awesome. So I was gonna say, so would it be safe to say that the voices in the mask are pretty much your guides, your advisors as to your next step in your wrestling career? Because honestly, you're a lucky man, because I wish I had some voices to help me, tell me, hey, Remy, do this, do that, invest in that, take part in that, and so on. Would it be safe to say that they're your advisors slash guides slash confidants?
It's definitely a guiding force. It's like, it's like a Jiminy Cricket. They can't change my future. Only I can do that. You're truly the superhero of your own life. For me, it was being the superhero of salsa and being able to be that untap that part of myself that's brave enough to dance in front of everybody, because I was always embarrassed to do so. I was a very reserved individual. And finding that part of me, being able to unleash it, is truly what it is. So some would call it a voice, some might call it intuition or going with your heart. But I think all of it kind of lends into the same idea of making sure and reassuring yourself that you are strong enough to get through to what you and achieve what you want to achieve. If that makes sense.
Awesome. So the Nightmare Factory, you've trained there, one of the most reputable schools in the country. I mean, not even the country, I'd say the whole world, because we had a gentleman on here by the name of the British Wolf, who came all the way from England to train there. And of course, you've had Anthony Agogo, who actually wrestled there as well too. So, in terms of the Nightmare Factory, how was the training? How was the training for you over there? And did the voices actually what were they saying when you were going through the training as well? Were they like, would you say were the voices like more like a drill sergeant, like a because I was in Navy for 7 years, so were they like your sergeant telling you, hey, get up, you're not done yet? Or were they a bit more calming? Like, or was it a range?
There's definitely the motivation factor. And that's really just self-motivation. The voice in my mask doesn't come out when I'm training. The voice in my mask comes out when the spotlight's on, when the music hits, when the fans in the crowd are ready to shake it. It isn't, I'm that crazy guy that hears voices, I promise you. But something happens to this thing and I can't control it. I don't know how. I didn't get an instruction book, you know? But sometimes I get those little nudges that tells me I need to try something. You ever get that feeling where you're about to do something and you're kind of scared about it, but you know you have to go through it anyway?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That
A
can be
lot of
applied
times.
to so many things. The first time I went onto the top rope and jumped off with my flying plancha and yelled, "Whee!" So scared getting up there and finding my balance. But once that voice, that intuition, that gut feeling that yes, you can do this sets in, and I jumped up and I let go. It was one of the most exhilarating feelings of my life. If I had gotten the 3 right there, I'd have been made for the day. But that's another story entirely.
Awesome. So, getting into professional wrestling, on your journey to becoming the superhero of salsa, who are some of your inspirations on your journey?
Well, like I said, I'm probably a little older than your average person that starts in professional wrestling. I'm currently 41 years old. I got into this business at about 40 years old. So it's been a little over a year that I've been in the business. I know I'm still a baby in those terms, but I knew I had a specific goal in mind, and I had a specific goal to be able to work the independence around where I am. I do have my career and my stuff. I'm not doing this for a cash grab. I'm doing this because I am genuinely a fan. My first most vivid memory of professional wrestling is Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant in WrestleMania 3. I was a Hulkamaniac. He broke my heart, and I still hold it against him that he joined the NWO. I'm that kind of old school invested into that character and that archetype, because that was somebody who was able to tell that story, that no matter what comes in front of you, you get back up and you keep moving forward till you get what you want and you get what you deserve. And granted, you guys have seen pictures of me on social media. You've seen videos of some of my matches at, say, Platinum Championship Wrestling. You've seen my big Batman tattoo. I am a superhero fan. I'm a big avid comic book reader. Any of the Bat family, X-Men, stuff like that. Kind of the ones that always draw my attention are the ones that don't quite go against the grain. So I knew I liked this Hulk Hogan idea, and I always kind of root for the good guys because, I'm a good guy. But taking that with somebody who does it in their own way, Bruce Wayne, or actually Batman. Bruce Wayne's totally the alter ego. Um, and books like the X-Men, where it was those kind of misfits that do it because they love it and do it because they know it's what's the right thing to do, not necessarily the most popular or what everybody else is doing, but showing that what you have is just as valuable and might even get a bigger smile on your face.
Cool. Cool. So I just have like two more
Sure.
questions before I pass over to Kathy. I know Kathy has a couple of questions for you as well. And my second to last question is when you're getting ready for a match or when you're working out, what are some songs that get you into that mode?
I actually have a very funny workout routine because mine involves a lot of cartoons. Um, I mostly work out at home. I'm a big avid practitioner of yoga, power yoga, and body weight workouts, the kind of stuff that I've adopted since the pandemic, and stuff was shut down. Um, and taking all these general calisthenics from uh, luchador I've been able to train with named Elemento Independiente online if you want to check him out. He was very helpful in making sure that what I do is, I'm still in there to win. I'm not, I may go about things in a humorous way, but it doesn't mean by any means that I am a joke. So he's helped me with a lot of the adopting movements from Mexican lucha libre and translating them to an American, a Southern American working style of professional wrestling. It's kind of been something that I've really endeavored to, and just being there and putting that stuff together has been one of the joys of this experience. And it gets into a lot of out in the weeds that a lot of us hardcore fans really get into. That's why I'm so glad you guys reached out to me, because you know I still watch my shows. Don't spoil anything on Hard Times 2 because I'm still catching up on that. But everything else we should be pretty current on if anybody needs to shoot the breeze on TV, because I'm sure I have my opinions too. Um, I'm sorry, I totally lost track of my train of thought. I started rambling on you, Remy. But as for working out, I work out at home, so I throw the YouTube up on my TV. I do my yoga workouts. I mainly use Yoga with Adriene on YouTube. That's that was the first step into getting myself fit as a big 250-pound unhappy person. That's the first thing that got me active and started getting me physically strong. And I do my, professional wrestling, Gotch Bibles and things like that. So for me, it's a lot body weight based and cardiovascular because, I may not have all these big biceps and muscles, and I am not a student of Body Guy University, but I can outlast some folks half my age at 41 in that ring in an endurance test, most definitely.
Awesome. That's impressive that you can actually do that. I mean, I'm 38. I hope when I hit 41 in the next couple of years, 3 years, that I can still go. I'm scared of my 40s. I know I was scared of my 30s. 30s weren't too bad, but the 40s, I'm kind of like, it's life, but still, I don't mind aging. Aging's gonna happen. I just want to be able to move when I want to. That's my
Exactly.
thing. I don't mind aging. Aging is gonna happen. It doesn't whether you want to or not. But I just want to be able to move when I want to. That's my thing.
Yeah, that's part of this, and the fact that you guys get to enjoy some great professional wrestling is an added benefit for me.
Oh yeah. So my last question is, you know, in in terms of professional wrestling, who are your top five opponents you'd want to wrestle in the near future? It could be anybody from, the big promotions like WWE, AEW, Impact, or they could be from like the indies, or anywhere in the world.
Hmm. This is a very good question. It's one I kind of wanted to be put on the spot with. I haven't given it much thought. Um, Somebody I'd like to have a match with hopefully in the immediate future would be Casey Rocker of the Rock and Shock Connection with Mr. Caleb Kennedy. I know a friend of your show, as I've seen that episode. Um, that's somebody that I've never matched up with, and I think it would be a very mental, very much a battle of wits. Um, I think it would be a great way to kind of stretch those muscles for the both of us, and I just think it'd be a fun dance partner. Um, and we need to stop them and some of the questionable choices they make in their matches. So I may have to pull the superhero card on him and take him down. Another one I would love to have a match with is Matt Sells. Uh, Definitely a very prevalent name on the Georgia independent wrestling scene. I know he's been on AEW Dark. He's just been a student of the Nightmare Factory, and he's been at this for a very long time. And he helped me right when I was starting out. As the voice of my mask started telling me who Cuatro Cabezas is, um, he gave me a lot of at a time when I really needed it. Gave me some was a very good sounding board on how to figure out how to get this expression out of me. So it's definitely somebody I'd like to um, match up with in some way, shape, or form. Um, soon. It's probably someone I can hopefully come into contact with this coming year. Um, that's two. Baron Black, supporting him. Make sure you're supporting Terminus. His show coming in January to Atlanta. Um, Hopefully we get some streams so we can get this thing going worldwide. I'm very excited for what he and Jonathan Gresham have planned out with this whole situation. Some of my favorites are on there, and that would be definitely a great opportunity. Another person I'd like to match up with is I'd like to have a dance contest with Zicky Dice at some point this year. I just think I can shake it better than he can, and I know he's upset about it. So that'd be one I'd definitely like to try.
Be careful.
Specifically a dance
contest.
Be careful. He's outlandish.
Yes, pero no tiene la salsa. I'd love to show him. I mean, it's all. It could be all in here, but it's mainly in the hips. You got to have a little bit of here. Anyways, hopefully that comes together in some way, shape, or form. And make sure you guys are checking out his Outlandish Paradise, his live stream that's coming on Twitch this coming January. That looks like it's going to be an amazing, fun time that hopefully everybody around the world gets to see. Just all the wonders and what a fun time independent wrestling can be, especially here in the Southeast. It's just wonderful. While I'm on the subject of things to watch, please watch Platinum Championship Wrestling, because that brings my number 5 wrestler that I'd like to take on would be Brian Blaze. Brian Blaze is another individual who has helped me tighten those screws and put those pieces together. And I'd like to see what happens when he and I in a one-on-one situation. Because I think I could surprise a lot of people. I think I could surprise a lot of our PCW faithful with what I can do. up against Brian Blaze.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to check out PCW one of these days. I've been hearing a lot of great things about them, and I've been seeing them. And that's the thing. That's the thing about professional wrestling. There's just so many promotions to watch, and Platinum Championship Wrestling is one I've been seeing pop up, and I've been like, I gotta check these out. And I've seen a couple of people like the Renegade Twins and Cat Spencer, and even TSF on there, and the Business, which is KC Rocker and Caleb Tandy. And I'm like, I gotta check this out, man. We've interviewed these people, but like the fact that they're on a weekly show, I gotta check these people out. And I'm gonna get
a lot of big things coming for Platinum Championship Wrestling in 2022. I'm just glad to be here for the ride. They're going to be. They do every second and fourth Friday of the month. We will. That's when we do those live. Hopefully, we can get them live out to you as they're happening through a YouTube platform. I think it's something that might happen. But either way, we do film every show, so we do try to get them up. About a week or so after the fact. I know there should be one coming up the pipeline, which is the last one for 2021. And there's a lot of big changes coming down the pipeline over at Platinum Championship Wrestling, all for the betterment of the folks that already enjoy us and folks that I hope are watching Ringside Society now that can come and try something different. Try something a little off the wall. And see a side of independent professional wrestling that doesn't take itself entirely seriously and is willing to have fun.
Awesome. Yeah, that's true. I always encourage our fellow wrestling fans to support indie wrestling, because that's your 95% of your WWE. Well, I guess not now because they're doing the whole NIL thing, but that's where 95% of your AEW, Impact. I'd even go ahead and say GCW, because now they're a big thing now too. That's where they come from. And I also encourage them to. Another thing I also encourage them to do is look and see what is outside of your area, not just like what's on national TV. Like there'll be an AEW and Impact, but if you're on the East Coast, see what's going on the West Coast. If you're on the West Coast, see what's going on the East Coast. And if you've seen what's on both sides of the coast, guess what? Check out what's going on in the Midwest. Check out what's going on down south. Check out what's going on in Texas. I've watched so many promotions that I've been accustomed to seeing certain people. Like Texas is another place, has a rich wrestling history. And I've seen so many ads, so many great ads for shows over there, so many great cards. Like I'm even jealous of Kathy over there, because Kathy, she's only 5 hours away from Texas or from Houston, and I'm like, I wish I was so close, man. I mean, I'm here in New York, and New York is pretty good too. New York is another big wrestling hub too as well.
That's stronghold territory, New York.
Yeah. But Texas, man, there's something about Texas that's just so awesome. And I've been fortunate to see at least 2 shows. It was by ACW down there in Austin, Texas. Yeah. And I've gotten to see Florida's kind of on the come up. I've seen a couple of promotions pop up. There's Magic City Wrestling. My mentor, George Alonzo, who's also from Miami, he actually runs SPW, Spirit Pro Wrestling. Shout out to George. And I've seen a couple of other places pop up, and I've been fortunate to see wrestling in Florida too. So I always encourage the fans, not to digress, I always encourage the fans to like see what's out there, see what's in the other state over, because you never know. You may be seeing the next AEW champion or Impact champion or the next big wrestler, to get signed and become popular. It's always a great thing.
But, I mean, heck, you might even find something you prefer in terms of a wrestling product. Just because it's not on TV and has a big budget, maybe that minimalist thing appeals to you. I know coming from that DIY punk rock background, that's what brought me to independent wrestling. That was something I discussed with QT Marshall when I started training at the Nightmare Factory. I said, ultimately, my goal is to work on these independents close by, nationwide. I mean, my thought process was always, well, I'm on vacation. Let me see if there's any wrestling nearby. I can hop on a show and show the gratitude that I've seen in maybe in the hospitality of the town I'm visiting. Um, it just seems like etiquette to me. Hopefully, it's just a good song and dance.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Rob. I'm gonna turn it over to Kathy. I know Kathy has a couple of questions for you. So Kathy, go ahead. The floor is all yours.
All right, thanks, Remy. Hey, Quattro, how's your Sunday treating you?
Oh, pretty good. I'm just got out from my yoga, sat in my comfy chair in my office, and chatting with you guys. So I'm doing great.
Awesome. So I know a little bit of Spanish. I know enough to know cuatro means four, cabeza means head. So where did the four heads come from? You have it on your mask too.
They came from this mask.
Okay.
The voice in my mask told me that this design was created by a DIY artist named Bobby Pins, who sells a lot of masks online, and they do mainly tributes to a lot of older um, American masked wrestlers and luchadors that were around that kind of late 70s, early 80s territory area. So you're thinking like Mil Mascaras. And there's been a lot of those characters, especially with the mask, that in kind of recent wrestling memory, being like the 80s, 90s, where we're coming through Georgia, stuff like Jody Hamilton, the Masked Assassin, stuff like Mr. Wrestling #2, and Dos Caras was one of those luchadores that came from Mexico and did a lot of work in the United States. And we know his son Alberto del Rio. We know his son El Hijo de Dos Caras. But he was one of those that was always struck my attention because I thought the mask looked cool. And I am unashamed in my lucha libre. I will mask and what the look of the mask translates to can make or break your character. Now this is just they're anatomically impossible to have a bird with four heads on like the one on my mask, but it's a sense of I think of it as a signifier of heritage. I know that I'm maybe the second generation in my family born in the United States, for instance. I know there will be generations after me. There will be here that I had something to do with in their life. My stepkids, they're gone and they're making their mark, and this is a reminder that they stay with me. While I am all about the betterment of yourself, you don't want to forget where you come from, and knowing that there is a heritage that can come before or after you can definitely be something that really centers you and kind of gets you zen, which is always a nice way to be loose and ready for anything that happens.
Yeah, it always fascinates me like when wrestlers have masks on because you have like Rey Mysterio with all his the question marks and everything and the different colors and stuff. It always fascinates me like how people pick their masks, and you have that one that you're wearing, and then you also have I saw you had like some Cuban gear with the Cuban flag and everything. That's of course your heritage there. But what else do you choose, like when you're picking masks and you're picking your gear? What else do you base it off of?
Um, I want to be the luchador I've never seen before. I want to be the wrestler I've never seen before. I want to be the one that I've always wanted to see. everybody's played a wrestling game and tried to make themselves in the game and try to give themselves all the cool gear and all the sweet moves. I've attempted to do that in real life. People ask me why. I say because superhero is not a viable career choice. At least this way, I get to make up my gas and go into all these fun functions. So this for me, it's definitely pulling on a lot of different inspirations. All the white I put into the color schemes of the masks, and just that simple contrast. It's a very old school wrestling mask. There's more intricate designs, like guys like Ray Phoenix, guys like Aramis, who's now in MLW. They have very intricate stuff. Místico, realistico now, especially like after he incorporated all his previous characters into one mask. It really is the signifier of Cuatro Cabezas. And this is, it just brings out a different part of you. And you want to, the superhero of salsa, it may not be the average individual hiding under here. It may be an entirely different part of me that comes out later. But I want people to see this design and know they're in for a good time, and making sure it stands apart from your contemporaries. It's been very helpful. It was very important, especially as I come now and growing into it and establishing myself on a more global stage, especially being on these programs like that are getting shown on YouTube. It's further reach than cable, let's be honest with you. So it has the potential to reach a lot more folks. And I just want them to remember, when they see this, they know it's Cuatro Cabezas and they know they're in for a good time.
It's very distinctive, which is hard to set yourself apart from so many, luchador wrestlers and masked wrestlers too. They don't have to just be luchadors, but like there's so many out there. So yeah, it does set you apart, with the four cabezas. People will remember that for sure.
If they don't remember that, they'll remember the salsa.
Yeah.
We're good.
They'll remember you dancing in the ring. So, speaking of that, the superhero of salsa, you do a stunner, which is called the salsa stunner, and it looks pretty cool. I saw it like a clip of it on Instagram. So, what made you decide to do a stunner?
That's another tribute in my kind of presentation. Stone Cold Steve Austin is one of my all-time favorites. It was taking that Hulk Hogan hero mentality from when I was young, and all the you need to question every single thing of alternative and punk rock music that was going on with me. I was probably getting early into college, which is when I started actually playing in punk rock bands, and seeing that representation of that rebellious streak in Stone Cold Steve Austin, being able to tell his boss to shove it, that is such a great classic story, and it's one that I draw a lot of inspiration from, and I know it's one that mess around in the backyard with my brother and my cousin. We'd just be running around giving each other stunners, and I knew it was something fun for everybody involved, except for maybe my opponent, but that's a given here. Am I right?
Yeah. I like how you put your little flavor on it too. It's the salsa stunner. Like you have your own little way that you do it too. It's not like your standard, like Stone Cold would just drop down. You kind of jump into it and kind of spread your legs a little bit and just go down. Like it's pretty cool. You put your own flavor on it. You put some salsa on it.
Exactly. Like all that I do. I've been working on a submission hold. If you're ever down in Miami, make sure you go to Joe's Stone Crab. It's one of the most notorious seafood places in South Florida, and I've just kind of attributed to it with my take on a crab hold, and I'm sure that's something that I've just started to break out. So we'll be seeing some other little little pieces of sabor here and there when we get down to it, especially in the ring.
Awesome. So, as Remy mentioned, and you talked about it a little bit too, you were trained at the Nightmare Factory. We've had like a bunch of them come on the show before, and I've asked them, like, what did they learn in the ring, but also they learned, there's life lessons to be learned too. So, what did you learn? There's in the ring, and then also, like I said, like life lessons. What did you learn for the life lessons?
It's okay to tell people what you want. I know, I know I've been, I had the opportunity to referee practice matches and get other opportunities. My socio, Richard Busnego, who gives me rides to shows, is a referee who's been afforded a lot of opportunities. It's well, he and I kind of share a body. If you've seen what Gentleman Jervis is doing lately, you know what I'm talking about. And being able to say that right now I need to be Cuatro Cabezas. And that's why I thank you guys for understanding. Reached out to maybe one side of me, and it's time for the other side of me to be out and proud. So yeah, soy salsero, soy luchador, but knowing, being able to tell people what you want. Sometimes an argument with a friend or maybe a partner can all be resolved with being upfront and telling somebody what you want. And that applies to the professional world as well. You're not going to get the big shot that you want to get and be on TV and do what you want to do if you don't ask for it. People need to know where you stand and know what you want to get out of this. Right now, because of that, I'm having so much fun, and I think it's just translating across as more people see what Cuatro Cabezas can do, and hopefully that fun is just infectious and it keeps going.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with salsa either. Like salsa dancing and everything too. It makes you want to move, makes you want to be happy. So you are going on a good path with that too.
Oh yeah, it keeps you skinny too.
Yeah, you make people want to have fun during your matches. It's always a good time.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. Starting out as an older person. I know. I might. There might be a physical wall for me. I'm not a big. I was never a big athlete when I was younger. I was definitely more of an artistic kid, kind of a nerdy kid who would read comics and play Dungeons and Dragons and listen to really annoying punk rock music. So I try to take those parts, those performative things that I love, and bring it to this very this physical form of entertainment, this physical live action combat theater that is professional wrestling. I just think that's the most accurate way to describe it. You would need to know what you're doing, and getting a good foundation is everything. And it's the Nightmare Factory, And there's other schools in my area, and there's been other people that have given me information and shown me things here and there. But I got that basis for being able to protect myself from the Nightmare Factory, from somebody like Luke Sampson, who was very hands-on in getting me acclimated to what I need to do in the ring, to not only to just hang, not only to just survive, but to be a competitor who can really take it to you.
It's very inspiring what you did. Like you started wrestling at 40, 41. It reminds me of Diamond Dallas Page. He was about like close to 40 when he started wrestling. He was
Yeah,
a
Paige
manager.
was, I think he was 35.
Yeah, 35, 36, around there.
Yeah, and he just had to go, and he had somebody motivating him. So mine comes as a voice directly to my brain from my luchador mask. But we both had that figurative kick in the head to be able to say, "Let's do this. Let's show the people what we can do and give the people a good time." There's enough craziness going on in the world. There may be enough crazy seriousness going on within a wrestling card, and so in more than one way, I just hope that being able to go say professional wrestling with this good rhythm is something that can bring smiles to faces. Ultimately, that's all that matters.
It's very inspiring. So, there's grandmas that get their diplomas at like 80 years old. They, that didn't stop them. They strive for what they ultimately wanted to do in life. And then, like you're at 41, which is kind of late, but you're doing your thing and it's awesome and it's very inspiring, and maybe it'll give other people a chance to be like, hey, you know what? I saw him do it. I might as well go and do it too. It's very inspiring.
Definitely. I mean, seeing Diamond Dallas Page and being exposed to DDPY when I was at my heaviest and using that to start getting moving was very pivotal in just the whole process of betterment of self and not being sore all the time. I worked retail for 15 years and I always had back issues, and it was through yoga and stretching and kind of finding that, unlike DDPY, I definitely have I found a touch more zen in a lot of the traditional yoga and power yoga in particular. It's just my flavor of ice cream, as it were. Um, but it's really helped me just in my family. It's helped my wife and I definitely uh, get on a path to make sure we're healthy and we can pass on what we can pass on to whoever we encounter. Just try to spread the positivity as much as possible.
Yeah, DDP has changed a lot of people's lives with his yoga and just like his, him taking in Scott Hall, and just he's life changing in more ways than one, and it's pretty cool to see.
Definitely. And Jake Roberts was one of my favorites as a kid.
Yep.
To see that movie as I was, you know, getting ready to start training at the Nightmare Factory was definitely a big um, reassurance to myself that yes, you can do this. You did come from this. Another big reason I do this is to celebrate my own freeness from that alcohol dependency, because I'm say over 9 years sober now, and it's always double or nothing weekend when I get to celebrate my sobriety. So it's definitely got that double meaning for me. Um, that celebration of being able to be the superhero that saves yourself, you know, is a big part of what I want to bring across to everybody. You don't need to wait to be saved. Nobody's going to do it for you. It all feeds into it. You just be your own superhero.
Congratulations on 9 years. That's a long time.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Keep it up. I know you will. I mean, gone this far, so just got to keep it up.
I gotta keep up with the rest of the rosters at all the places I get to wrestle. So most definitely, I gotta keep that up.
Yep, for sure. So speaking of one of the places you wrestle, which you mentioned it a little bit there, you wrestle for Platinum Championship Wrestling. They're based out of Georgia, and
Yep.
you wrestle there, and you interview wrestlers, your fellow peers too. But they had a show this past Friday called Seasons Beatings, and I know you said it's been taped for TV, but is there a little bit of something you could give, like maybe who was your opponent? or like not how it went because we don't want to spoil it, but how was the
I
show?
actually did not wrestle on that on
Okay.
this last event. I went as a fan. I was definitely in the crowd. Somebody that I want you all and your audience to keep your eyes on as well. Who's kind of part of our little familia de la factoria, would be the Ripper Trey Shaw. And I know I've spoken to him in a random room in the What a Deal Arena that Platinum Championship Wrestling emanates from. But in that Cuarto, I swear to God, I know him from somewhere. He looks so familiar, but I can't put my finger on where I know him from. And there's just all these little things that we keep finding that are kind of common ground that shouldn't be common ground. Um, and by that I mean the voices telling you what to do in wrestling and in life, and how to be a better competitor through utilizing that stuff. Something about time travel and dancing. It's uncanny. And not only that, but I mean, he's just a kick-ass dude. You know, he will rip your head off in that ring. And somebody I definitely love to work with more in the ring. I know we've encountered each other in various battle royals and tag team situations in Platinum Championship Wrestling. Most recent, I think, is up on YouTube now, and that we were definitely both on the right side of history as we were teaming with the Creeps and Duncan Mitchell and Frankie Filto, another factory made individual, teaming up against some real jerk faces that Platinum had to offer. And you know, thanks to our dealer's choice champion Duncan Mitchell getting the 1-2-3, we had a victory that night. But we also had definitely one of the more exciting moments there, and back and forth with meatheads like Jameson Ryan. Don't get me started on that guy. That's a whole other conversation. But it's definitely all about showing that good time. And I'm glad you're watching. I'm glad that means that more people are finding out about our crazy, insane little corner of independent wrestling, and hopefully you pass it on to somebody who thinks they need it, because it looks like you, even if it's not what you look like, if that makes sense.
So you said you didn't wrestle for that show. So I know like when you're in a show, there's nerves and you get, really nervous and stuff like that. And then you have to remember your moves and stuff. And when you're actually wrestling, and then, wrestlers are fans too. They, you start out as a fan and you want to be a wrestler, further down the road. So like, is it a big, what's the big difference from like wrestling at a show and then getting to sit back and actually just watching the show and not having to wrestle that night?
And it's all part of the process. I mean, it's an active competition. So when I'm not a competitor in a match, I'm trying to watch what my peers are doing. I want to see what I need to prepare for. Especially in the Georgia independent wrestling scene, where it can be a very big world, and there's a lot of different folks around places, and you may pick up some things here and there from encounters that may help you down the line. Even it's something as simple as shaking your hips. People know that I like dancing. People don't expect the fact that people don't expect me to want to dance with them when I get in that ring is ridiculous, because that's probably the most fun thing you could do ever. I mean, but take for instance Jameson Ryan, somebody that I've been able to outsmart 2 times now. So it's always you got to be a student of the game, and I try to stay up on my little corner of the game, as well as what's going on with folks I love and folks that I follow, folks that I'm just genuine fans of. So there's always something going on. There's always something different to watch and that I can learn from or just kick back and be entertained, sometimes both at the same time. That's the beautiful part of it. It's it can be a more interactive experience in that trying it on for size in the position that I'm put in as a competitor and both a wrestling fan and a competitor is you want to make sure that where you're at is the place to be, of course. And I think Platinum Championship Wrestling, for instance, is one of the craziest shows in Georgia. I also think for those local to the area in Royston, Georgia, Alternative Pro Wrestling is another place where you might find your new favorite wrestler, you know, as they're getting started out. And places like Georgia Premier Wrestling, where you see a lot of familiar faces to your show that I get to train with day in, day out, and see all of us put our stuff out there and show the world what we've got.
That's what's pretty cool about wrestling too. Like you never stop learning. It's a continuous process. You never stop learning, no matter how long you've been in there. Like 20 years, 1 year, 5 years, it doesn't matter. You're always learning something.
Exactly.
There's always so much to learn too.
Right. It's there's always someone that, you know, being able to see something from someone else's point of view. I always equate it back to being a musician, as being in different bands over the years. I've been able to play different instruments. I've been the guitar player or the bass player, or I played the drums because there wasn't a drummer. I was the lead singer because I broke my arm and I couldn't play lead guitar, so that I could still be a part of it. I mean, and each role you play in the process can yield so many different results and can make you appreciate a different part of the picture that you hadn't seen before. You know, the first few shows that I was involved with, I was sitting behind a soundboard, running music, making sure the mics worked, stuff like that. I've been able to put in some reps as a referee and see how it is arbitrating these contests. You know, making sure that you are calling it down the middle, making sure that the crowd is able to understand what's going on at any given time, and being that competitor, being that fan, working in the back, even it's just something as simple as coming in and setting up the ring, and maybe you're, you know, putting down chairs. That every little piece of it is going to affect how any individual who's in the crowd that night experiences the show. So yeah, all of it is it's all as important as the other. You know, there's not one without the other, better said. So being able to experience all the different sides of it has just been one of the most exhilarating parts of this journey.
Yeah, that's what we kind of do here too at Ringside Society. We don't interview just wrestlers. We interview the fans. We interview referees, gear makers, musicians, everything. Because you have nothing if you don't have like all these compartments. So it's
Exactly.
like we don't just give the spotlight to wrestlers, but the fans and everybody else too. Because it's all
everybody's talents.
Yeah, everybody's a moving piece of the big thing we call wrestling. So
thank you guys for what you do, of course.
So you mentioned Georgia Premier Wrestling. That's another promotion in Georgia. Georgia has like such a rich history of wrestling. You have like, WCW was there, NWA, that kind of thing. But Georgia was pretty busy because I had mentioned, Platinum Championship Wrestling had a show Friday. Georgia Premier Wrestling had a show last night. Now, were you part of that show?
I was part of that show.
Okay.
And it was a triumphant return to Georgia Premier Wrestling. It was something that I really wanted to do this year. One of my very first matches was at Georgia Premier Wrestling against Dean Alexander. And he mopped the floor with me. And he gave me a big old power driver. And he got the win. And then he decided to come back in after the bell and give me another pile driver. And I was unable to go back because I wasn't medically cleared. I kind of kept doing stuff and trying to make sure it was better, but I was able to return to that same GPW ring and show the folks what I could do. I mean, I had one of the funnest matches I've ever had, and me and Showtime just mixed it up. And shout out to much respect to Josh Cantrell. If you're watching, Josh, thank you again for letting me come in and be able to prove myself to the GPW faithful. And I can't wait to see everybody again. There's some of the best fans in Georgia out there in Jasper when we come out for Georgia Premier Wrestling, and it's just wonderful to see all these familiar faces as they're coming in, because as much as the fan sitting at home thinks I would love to do something but I can't, well, you can. You're a fan, and the fans are the fuel for all of it. I mean, I was reintroduced to that idea the first time I went and saw AEW Dynamite when they first came to Atlanta, during the beginning of the promotion. Cody had that big cage match against Wardlow, that big show, and I remember, I think somebody from some sort of person through my job was able to get me a ticket. And I was able to show up, and I sat right by where John Moxley stormed out in his entrance to the crowd, and saw how essential it is for the fans in that atmosphere of that live wrestling show, especially that big arena live wrestling show. Something that still translates to just that live wrestling events in general. And I think to geek out about the production side of things, for me, professional wrestling production is done best when we've got that sense of the crowd interacting. I always loved ECW for getting that across and getting that interaction with the crowd. Maybe something like the venue we use for the Nightmare Factory showcases, a venue like what Impact does, and the bless them, Ring of Honor, had those venues where you could get up close and personal with somebody and really become a part of the show. Not by singling yourself out, but by being the people that are going to help your heroes win, because you're cheering for them. You're telling them that they still have to get back up and keep fighting. You're not done yet. You're almost there. Let's go. That type of feeling. Or it could be somebody telling a competitor who was kind of a jerk that they were a real big jerk and they better watch out. There's so many different emotions that we can help portray and really drive where the story should go for a good professional wrestling show in general. It relies entirely on folks to be able to see it and get eyes on it. Coming up during the pandemic and learning how to do what we do then, it was just around the time when people started getting back into stuff, and shows started picking up, that the Nightmare Factory started doing more shows, and that's really been where I've started, just wrestling in front of people. And it's so nice to be able to show those individuals and give them a good time, and being able to meet people afterwards and high five, shake hands. We've all had a good time, and we all went on this journey together. So probably one of the most fun things you could do as a wrestling fan is get off your butt and go watch a wrestling show live. I will say that.
That's what's cool with AEW. Their audience stays, live and kicking, and they chant the whole show, and it's something that's been lacking in like WWE, for instance. And they AEW, like from top to bottom, they just, the crowd's roaring, they're chanting, they're getting involved, and it's good to see because it's been missed, like there's dead crowds here and there and stuff, but like, in WWE and stuff, where they just don't have the content for people to cheer. And AEW's on like the whole time. They're always cheering, and it's good TV because you as a fan, you're sitting at home and you're like, wow, like the crowd's really into it. This is awesome.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean,
So
that fan interaction is just everything.
yeah.
And I mean, obviously, there's varying degrees of fan interaction because you can watch a New Japan Pro Wrestling show without fans and with fans, and as they would probably be a more respectful audience, and maybe not be as loud as a crowd in Atlanta, Georgia. It still brings that added intensity and just almost a theatrical vibe to it, which I can definitely appreciate. But there's places for both of them, and as long as everybody's having fun, that's the main part. And that's for all of us, for performers, fans, people behind the scenes. Life's too short. Just do what you want and have fun doing it.
So my last question before I turn over to Rob is, there's a couple of people from the Nightmare Factory that have been extras in AEW, or they've done stuff behind the scenes helping with AEW. Have you done any of that stuff yet?
I haven't. Again, I have a career outside of wrestling, so that definitely takes up a lot of my time when I'm not um, being a doggy daddy or a husband or a pet sitter. So God, there's a lot of different hats in my life. I know that's probably an opportunity I could ask for. But gosh, I'm just having so much fun with what I'm doing right now that I'm just kind of taking things as they come. Especially, as we've got the new year coming and everybody's thinking about what they plans and resolutions and things like that. My resolution 2 years ago was to be in wrestling school, and I was able to accomplish that. Um, and after my very first match, which ended up not the match didn't end up finishing because something crazy happened, and of course it was at Platinum Championship Wrestling, but it was at the Big Swamp World Show, and I resolved then and there that the next year this show happens, I'm going to be in a match on that show. Not only was I in a match, I was in the Platinum Royal match and won that match. So that's one to watch on the YouTube channel now for Platinum Championship Wrestling. If you guys want to see, it's our big show of the year. And it's definitely one that's got a bunch of fun and some pretty sick bangers on it. If you're into to that in-ring work on top of all the other fun, but it's definitely one worth watching, and I definitely recommend to everybody on right now to check it out.
Awesome. Well, before I turn it over to Rob, just want to say thank you for coming on the show, and I hope you achieve all your goals in 2022 that you're going to set for yourself, because you already achieved, the goals for this year and years past. So I know you'll probably smash those goals, and wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. All right, Rob.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Kathy. So what's going on, man? How's everything?
I'm good, Papa. I'm great.
That's good, man. Anything interesting happened to you today, man? Did you catch up on football, all that stuff, man? Watch any good shows?
I watched new show on Netflix. Kyle Mooney from SNL is doing it, and it's like the old Saturday morning cartoons. What is it? It's called Saturday Morning All-Star Hits. It just popped on Netflix for us. If you are a 90s kid, it's got so many of those old school, like Saturday morning cartoons from the 90s. There's so many of those tropes crammed into there, and it's just so wonderfully executed. It really took me back. I've had a great afternoon cuddling up with the dogs and watching that, so That's what I've been doing lately. Adding some stretching and some stuff, and now chatting with you guys. But I'm never really a sports guy. I was definitely more of an art nerd. So, um, but I will say, as a Cuban American, I would probably pay attention to baseball most. So I'm definitely very happy that my Braves won this year.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, man, Netflix. I just found out it was last week or the other day or whatever that Knight Rider's on Netflix, and I was like so happy about that because when I was born in '82 and Knight Rider, Kit. Oh man, Kit's my car, man. I like Kit. Other than the DeLorean, and all that, I like Kit.
I was always an Ecto One guy myself.
Yeah, I like Ecto One. Ecto One's good. It's a cool car. I got to see it at Comic-Con this summer. I got my picture taken, in front of it and all that, man. It was pretty cool.
Oh, cons are great. I miss cons. I'm hoping to if any of the public ever goes out to DragonCon in Atlanta. I know Xavier Woods always posts his sweet cosplays there, but they always have wrestling events there yearly, and that's definitely one of my long-term goals is to get on one of those functions. Either way, just coming out and kind of seeing everybody and everybody just letting their nerd flag fly is definitely one of the funnest experiences, especially for anybody into like comics and other types of pop culture with very intense fandoms. Always the best time.
Yeah, and like you're saying, one of your favorites is Batman stuff, and they had the old school Batmobile right next to Ecto One too. So I was like, yeah, I got to see that one too. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen a couple people have those replica Batmobiles, and yeah, that was like from when I was like, I remember seeing that on TV when I was like 3, 4 years old. It was like I would watch those Batman shows, and I remember watching a lot of the old Superman with Christopher Reeves, the old Superman movies from the '80s. Um, so as the VCRs are very archaic because again, I was born in like '80. Um, I remember wearing out that tape and watching all that Batman whenever it comes out, and just always loving the iconography as well as the mythos and the ways, especially with Batman, all the different ways you can retell it. And I have an Adam West Batman tattoo, but that doesn't mean I'm not a fan of what Christian Bale did or what Michael Keaton did. I'm very intrigued to see what Robert Pattinson does. Um, it's something that's always been told to me since I started training in professional wrestling is there's different flavors of ice cream to everything, and it can apply to your Batman. Star Trek's another big one for me. So you've got your favorites, but definitely always enjoyed when you can appreciate it all together as just a part of it and having that connection with other people on it and being a part of a fandom like that. It's definitely can give you a sense of solidarity. And sometimes, especially folks during lockdown and stuff like that, you need that solidarity to kind of get you through. You that connection to another person, and the fact that things like that can be provided through all this great artistic expression, be whatever it is. I think is one of the best parts of living.
So I gotta ask, man, what do you feel about Ben Affleck's turn as Batman, aka Batfleck? did you like Ben Affleck as Batman, Bruce Wayne?
I did. I always liked Batman. And I'd probably say the same thing for like Captain America and Iron Man. I always like to see these big guns in these ensemble casts. So I was always a big reader of like Justice League, Justice Society, stuff like that. I like to see how the folks interact together. It comes probably from the X-Men side of things and getting those big ensembles. I look at the parts I play and the way I approach professional wrestling is very similar. Um, I probably wouldn't be the Batman of the show. I'd probably be the Booster Gold of the show. But everybody's got their part in making up this team of heroes that you want to check in on their adventures and see where they're up to next. So I think there's a very, very parallel line there.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah. That fleck and all that good stuff and all. But I do gotta ask, man, are you getting ready for the MCU Phase 4? Well, I guess they already started it, man. Are you getting ready for Spider-Man? I don't know if you're into Spider-Man or whatever, but have you been catching up with like Hawkeye? It was Shang-Chi, I think, in the Eternals or whatever. So have you been getting called up, man? Are you ready?
I'm waiting for Wanda to use the power she's revealed she has in Scarlet Witch and Vision, and will mutants into existence. That's what I'm hoping is one of the big world changing outcomes of this next phase. I want my X-Men back.
That's right. Yeah, I'd love to see some X-Men. Yeah, man. I don't know how they're going to replace Wolverine, man, because Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. God, and then his send off Logan. That was probably one of my favorite superhero movies ever, man. Logan was just, oh,
Logan was
yeah. We need
perfect.
some.
I
Yes,
remember watching Logan with my wife, and we were both in tears at the end, and she was like, "I don't even like these movies, Richard." It was just such a genuine emotion coming out of that piece is great. Um,
oh yeah,
and
yeah.
there's
And
so many more X-Men that I don't think I think we can, when we find another Wolverine, we find one. Let's there's plenty of other stories to tell within the X-Men mythos, and so many other characters to explore. Um, lots of different faces for everybody. Especially with something like the New Mutants movie. They took a different twist at it. They went with more of like a horror movie interpretation of that classic Demon Bear saga story, and showing that it really is like a modern mythology, and sometimes the setting of the story will change, but the story remains the same. Um, there can be a lot of comfort in that form, and sometimes you put the right bit of glitter on something, and somebody can see something they never saw before. So I think it's very important to keep sharing these stories, and I'm glad that there is something, and I know I'm probably um, a bit more on that geeky side, but to be able to bring that to somebody in a different way, I think is very intriguing.
now I am excited that their X-Men '97 is coming out. I think it's next year or whatever. I think on Disney, it's Disney Plus or something. And I loved the X-Men series when I was a kid. That was like something I had to watch on Saturday morning. That, The Tick, stuff like that. Turtles, there's one of the staples. And I'm so happy to see. I want to see where they go with it. Is Wolverine still going to have his yellow suit and all that, man? So I was like, yeah, you got to see this.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do, because I know the last one they released, Wolverine and the X-Men, was very well done. It had a fun art style, and it had a good kind of serialized storytelling into it. They definitely try to cover a broad range in terms of characters and showing how vast that world can get. Sometimes people need to see that, and they think what is a minority, it might just be one or two people. It might actually be a thriving community. Um, and sometimes we need to be brought outside of it and given that lens of science fiction and fantasy in order to look at the way we look at other people in our regular lives. And there's, it's that fun that makes you think. And some of that is, for me, some of the best storytelling.
That's right. That's right. Now I do want to get back to a little bit on wrestling and stuff, man. I did get to see you in your ref stripes, and I also do a little refing on the side, just a little bit, And so how do you feel about refing, man? Do you like it, man? How is it to you, man? Do you like going in there, just watching everything go down, doing your thing?
Doing a refereeing is again, it's shifting the point of view on the story for you and you as a part of it. Um, and it's something that has helped me become a better in-ring competitor. Picking up those little kind of spaces between the wrestling moves. Um, things that I can use to gain an advantage, things that I can use to make sure that the crowd's with me, or something that I know can get the crowd reacting and get them off their feet and get them really invested in what we're doing and the stories we're telling. And being able to, that's why doing this in front of people, I guess, it appeals to so many of us professional wrestlers, is because that feedback just fuels what we can do next. You know, I've heard folks say predetermined, but it's not fake. So we're not all reading lines off of cue cards, at least not where I go. So definitely getting a feel for everything around you. Is an integral part to all the story, and being able to see it on the referee side is a wonderful journey. A very very fun way to do it, and it's probably something that I'll always keep with me. And whether we'll see Cuatro as a special guest referee, I guess we'll have to see if the opportunity affords itself. But there might be some more appearances when you see the Nightmare Factory, that you may see somebody with a similar build, maybe a similar timbre of voice, refereeing a couple matches for maybe a student showcase. Say like you did in Camp 3. Having that as an opportunity, especially since I commenced training with the factory right before this camp program was really put into full swing. So for me, that was my opportunity to show what I could do on that showcase platform. Very, very happy to be a part of it. And those events are definitely, I'm glad we've got folks that are into those, because they're such a big, for all of us, for all of the students and everybody that trains there, it's such a big, like, almost like a bonding and camaraderie building thing, because we're working together to put this venue together, get this visual presentation down right, and with all the roles everybody's doing. Again, part of the biggest part of that learning process of becoming a wrestler, a professional wrestler, being able to work as a referee, being able to work behind the scenes, is just experiencing all of it and seeing how much fun you can have with maybe it's not in your personality to be somebody that's in front of a camera as a performer. Maybe you're better behind the scenes. I've got that in my family. We've got, my brother's a sound engineer, so he's done his share of performing, because we played in punk bands together. But now he's able to take the knowledge he's learned and just help someone else with their performance, but in a different aspect. So there's always something that's definitely stayed with me, is being able to appreciate all parts of it, and just being able to see all sides of it is definitely, it's fun, because sometimes certain people I want to referee their match more than I'd want to wrestle them, or vice versa, because if somebody's going to be real crummy to me as a referee, Cuatro's not going to be very happy with it either. So
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Well,
I have to ask you.
somebody to watch your back, Rob, as you keep on your refereeing journey as well. Of course.
That's right. That's right. Well, I got the Renegade twins. I'm real cool with them and Cat Spencer. So hopefully they'll go in. They'll go clean up my dirty work or whatever, I guess.
Yeah, the Renegade twins, and one match on my refereeing journey that stands out is being able to referee a match between Duncan Mitchell and Robin Renegade at Platinum Championship Wrestling for the Dealer's Choice Championship. It was definitely a big title match, and it was a real high pressure situation, and just being in that ring and making sure we could contain this energy one, to keep everybody safe, and two, to make sure that the map's going off without a hitch. It was a big challenge, and definitely one of the most fun experiences I've had in the stripes.
That's right. Yeah, my very first match or very first show, I had to ref. They gave me the main event, the title match and stuff. Man, you want to talk about nerves and stuff? Like, oh, I don't want to mess up the title match, man. I know, yeah, the lower cards, you know what I mean? Whatever, but everybody's gonna remember that main event and stuff. And I'm like, please don't let me mess up. I did all right. I didn't get fired or whatever. I did all right. So
First match I wrestled for television was on Championship Wrestling from Georgia, and it was a title match. It was for the United Television title. Levi Shapiro had issued an open challenge. Another factory made athlete, Jonah Turk, answered the call, and they had it out. But my biggest concern was, oh my God, is the title right side up so that it looks good on TV? That to me was the biggest thing running through my head. I got that right side up, so I was fine. But there's definitely that added air of importance that especially if it's two folks that have been real familiar, where there is that question of a championship in there. It's just going to up your intensity and make sure you're just on your game even more, wherever piece of the puzzle you're in. You just want to make sure that everybody's able to have a good time, and no matter what you're doing is a part of it.
that's right. Yeah, because last Saturday I reffed a cage match, a body bag cage match, and I don't know if you ever been in a cage or whatever yet, but man, I was trying to get in there and I was like, and it's taped for TV and stuff. So, I'm going up there, the ring announcer's out there. I'm getting ready to get in the ring and stuff. And the cage door is like this, it's something, you can walk in. It's not made for you to, get in over here like this. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? I'm like trying to get in the ring. I was like, all right, I made it through. I was like, all right. So I was sitting there. I'm like, I'm going to watch these guys get into the ring and stuff. I'm watching the wrestlers the workers come in. They did the same thing. They got up there. They looked and they're like, oh my God. You see, like, all right, everybody got in great, man. So I was like, all right, cool. At least it wasn't just me, So I was like, woo.
Oh yeah, it's definitely just having somebody there with you for the journey, whether it's your opponent, whether it's the official. It's something you can't take away from anybody. And some of the folks that I've been able to work with in the stripes, it's an experience that I'll always keep with me. Definitely check out Championship Wrestling from Atlanta if you guys haven't already. Go to the YouTube channel. And wonderful matches with folks like Juicy Finau, with the Rapture. Being able to work with Levi Shapiro was a big one because I was always a fan of him watching Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. So to be able to come around there and meet people that you've seen and been entertained by, and just see how they do it up close and be a part of that entertainment to other folks. It's for me, it's the ultimate way of giving back to the fandom, so to speak.
That's right. Now, I did want to ask about your tag team with Cat Spencer, man. How can we maybe see that again in the future, man? You and Cat, tagging up.
Well, I don't know. It's I guess it depends if we run into each other or not. But guys, I just saw what time it is, and I know I've got to get going. So let's get our final questions in, and call it an evening.
That'll be my final question, man. Ask about Cat Spencer and stuff. Man, we done talked about reffing and nerd stuff and all. I'm good to go, man.
I tell you, Cat was a wonderful partner, and definitely got us a couple wins in that tag team gauntlet, and one of my favorite human beings.
That's right. So yeah, man. I do want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule coming on chat with us. I wish nothing but the positive things that happen to you and all your family and all going forward. And yeah, man, I hope you get to see all DCU and NCU stuff, man. It's all awesome, man. You get hyped for it and everything.
Thanks so much.
Quattro, thank you very much for giving us opportunity. We're very grateful, and we know we tried to get you on before, but our schedules kind of clashed. But we're glad that you gave us one more try, and we were able to make it work out. before we shut down the show, where can fans find you on social media when they want to purchase Cuatro Cabezas merchandise, and or find out when your next appearance is, and where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
I would definitely you can reach. I'm probably most active on Instagram, and that'll be 4 Cabezas Lucha, the number 4 Cabezas Lucha. Um, same tag on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm definitely most active on Instagram, and check out me and my friends down at Platinum Championship Wrestling on YouTube as well, or go to pcw.life.
Awesome. Awesome. So y'all definitely make sure you're following this man. He's doing big things, in Georgia and whatnot. And, Nightmare Factory, I keep telling y'all, do not sleep on the Nightmare Factory. They're doing big things. Check out the last 3 student showcases. You will be surprised. You will see many memorable moments. I'm not just saying that. The last one I saw, my face was literally like this. So, yeah, you will not be bored. Check out Nightmare Factory, and support indie wrestling. I'm not gonna stop saying that. Support indie wrestling. It's phenomenal. Trust me. You go to indie wrestling show, you will not be bored. But with that being said, Quattro, I wish you all the best in your wrestling career, and best believe if I ever do see you on AEW or television in general, doing your thing in the ring, I will definitely be like, yo, we just had that guy on the show. I'll probably call Rob and Kathy right away and tell them, hey, check out who's on TV. And, I'll definitely be happy because we've had people on here on our show that have gone on to do great things and even get signed. So it's always a great feeling to see somebody work hard and then get rewarded for it. But with that being said, it's about time for us to close down the show. Kathy Knight, where can fans find you on social media when they want to talk wrestling and all good things, Becky Lynch and Paige, and good eating in Louisiana and so on?
So I'm on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and Discord, all at BLUE70517.
Cool. Rob Bass, where can fans find you on social media when they want to talk wrestling?
You can find me on
when they want to find out when your next appearance is, and where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows as well?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, Rob_Base82, and then Facebook, YouTube, Rob Base.
Awesome. And if you want to find me on social media, not that I have anything cool to say, but who knows, maybe you get lucky. You can find me on Twitter at the Remy Blue. You can also find me on Facebook under the alias Remy Blue. And you can also find our podcast on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram under at Ringside Society. We're also on Twitch under at Ringside Society 2019. We are also on Spotify. We have our season 1 and season 2 episodes there, and some from season 3. And we also have a Facebook group. And if you type in Ringside Society, you'll find us. So definitely join our group. And we're also on YouTube, and that's where we have a lot of our episodes now. We have a lot of great episodes like this one, the Renegade Twins, Cat Spencer, Brooke Havoc, TSF, the Diamond Sheik, the Bodyguard Austin Green, and many others on our YouTube page. So once you go to YouTube and type in Ringside Society, and you see that sweet OMG dark blue and light blue yin yang sign with the blue flames around it, that's us. So definitely go ahead and subscribe to all of our videos, because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up. But with that being said, and we also have a Teespring where we actually sell official Ringside Society merchandise. We have t-shirts, tank tops to show your muscles. We have hoodies for hoodie season, and we also have coffee mugs for your favorite warm beverage as well. So definitely support us. All proceeds go back into keeping this show afloat. It does not go into our pockets. And speaking of merchandise, we also have our Christmas giveaway coming up. Actually, after this show, we're actually going to be going on Instagram Live and announcing the 3 questions that you, the fans, have to get right in order to be in the raffle for to win a Ringside Society hoodie. So definitely make sure you tune into our Instagram. But with that being said, we just want to thank everybody tuning in tonight live. We really and truly appreciate it. To those of y'all that are going to see us later on, thank you very much in advance. And to those of y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we would just go away, well, like myself at the Golden Corral and Rob Bates at the Taco Festival and Kathy at Cafe Du Monde, we ain't going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't.
We ain't stopping. So with that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we here at Ringside Society are very well and aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. Rob Bass, Kathy Knight, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for the superhero of salsa, Cuatro Cabezas.
Woo!
What type of podcast are we?
All right. 3, 2, 1.
We're the
The
Wrestling
Wrestling
Fans
Fans
Podcast.
Podcast.
Wrestling Fast Podcast, Ringside Society, and we will be back tomorrow night with another amazing episode. But until then, stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware.
Bye.